Hey everybody, it's Doc Green, the Road Scholar, coming back at you. I'm up here in Oklahoma today, getting ready to make a load drop. Decided to get on here and do a little video because there's a lot of talk about the supply chain being broken. Guys, I'm going to explain to you a few things. There's a lot of myths and a lot of flat out lies that are going on about this supply chain thing. So here we go. First, when they say there's a shortage of truck drivers, no, there isn't. I'll show you a video here in just a second where it shows a lot of trucks out there waiting to be loaded, been sitting out there for hours, got chassis with them and everything. The cranes just are not operating. One port has one port with 9 cranes. None of them are operating. None of them are loading these trucks up. So if we're sitting there and say there's a shortage of trucks, no, there isn't. There's a lot of trucks. These guys been waiting out there for, it showed like a line of like 30 trucks. Been waiting out there 4 or 5 hours. Not one of them been loaded yet. So that's a lie number one. But there's a reason for these lies. They're trying to push a narrative that we need to pass this big major spending bill that he's got and everything for infrastructure on electronic trucks, and we need driverless trucks and all that. No, we don't. We need more workers at the ports. So here's how the supply chain works. Just to give you guys a little quick overview of how this really works. Here's what happens on the supply chain. Cargo ships come in. They get unloaded at the port. After these containers get unloaded, they get loaded onto what we call a chassis, pulled by semi trucks. They go to either other boats, they go up and down rivers, or they go up to rail stations, or some of them get trucked into the destination. Once these trucks get loaded, they pull out of the ports. They go to mostly to the rail yards. They unload there. They get the chassis, the containers get pulled off, put on the train, and shipped across the United States to other points. If there's enough trucks, and there are enough trucks out there, and I'll show you videos of that in just a second, then what's the problem? Why are we not getting loaded? Why are we not being able to get to these train stations? Simply put, because we don't have enough of the other types of workers in the logistics chain. Supply chain consists of more than just truck drivers and ships. It consists of dispatchers, loaders, planners, forklift operators, crane operators, dock workers, directional people, the train conductors, the train crews, the train repair crews, the mechanics. There's so much more that goes into the supply chain than what President Joe Biden tries to talk about when he did his little interview the other day. And I'm going to show you part of that, and I'm going to splice into it where he is dead wrong in what he is saying. But whenever the supply chain breaks, a lot of people go, I'm not going to assume that means we need more drivers. Now, will we need more drivers if they open up 24 hours a day? No. The reason is because once they open, how are you going to open up 24 hours a day? You don't have enough operators to run 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day. You know, the ports can't keep the cranes moving now. The hours they're operated, they don't have enough dispatchers, enough planners, enough people working now to keep it open during the hours they're working. How are they going to open 24 hours a day? There's, well, they'll just hire more people. Well, yeah, that's been the problem the whole time. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The supply chain is not really broken because of truck drivers and transportation. The supply chain is broke down because the government has been paying people not to work. As a friend of mine pointed out to me earlier, Governor Newsom over there shut California down several times. So we got a backlog. A lot of people go, well, if we made stuff in America, we wouldn't have problems with stuff being stuck on containers. You don't get it, people. There's still a shortage of workers. The supply chain is still broken. It doesn't matter if it's made in America, it's made in China, what? The problem is we don't have enough dispatchers working. We don't have enough load planners working. We don't have enough mechanics working. We don't have enough. There's a whole lot more than just truck drivers. You know, we got plenty of trucks. You know, we just don't have the people fill them. Now, I'm talking about California. Because in Texas, we do need more drivers. We need more drivers to work intermodal. We need more drivers to be pulling the freight off. If they ever get that freight moving, and if they get enough people working over in California, and they do increase it, like Joe Biden says we will, by 40%, you know, there'll be 40% more if we open these 2 ports up 24 hours a day. Yeah, if you can get people to go back to work at those ports to keep them open 24 hours a day, then yes, you are correct. We will have an influx. Until then, no, we don't need an influx. We don't have an influx, don't need more truck drivers over there. Another thing that Joe Biden failed to mention is that there's a lot of truck drivers over there that will not, there's a lot of truck drivers who refuse to go to California because the EPA regulations are so tight. So a lot of drivers just won't go there. Ease up on that stuff. You want to get those containers moving? You need more drivers, which you don't. But if you really do, here's what he would do. He would ease up on the hours of restriction, hours of service. For those of you who don't know what that is, let me explain a little bit. Truck drivers can only work 70 hours a week. We can only drive 11 hours a day. We can only work 14 hours a day. So if we pull into a port like they are in California, and they're sitting there parked and they're waiting for 5, 6, 7 hours and not getting loaded, then by the time they get loaded and get out of there, they only got 3 or 4 more hours they could drive before they got to start heading home. So they can only do 1 load a day. But here's the thing. They're in those ports sleeping. You see these big trucks? They got what we call sleepers on the back of them. They got beds back there. These drivers could be resting. Doesn't matter, because once their 14-hour clock starts in the morning, they only got 14 hours to work. Doesn't matter if they're driving or what. Then they got shut down. Ease up on the hours of restrictions for those drivers. Ease up on the hours of service. So the ones that are sleeping out there waiting to get loaded, once they get loaded, they're only working 5 or 6 hours, then come back and get another load. Who else done that? Oh yeah, Donald Trump. That was one of the first things he did with the pandemic hit, was ease up on the hours of service restrictions. You know why Joe Biden didn't? Because he's pushing a narrative in order to get that big spending bill about infrastructure passed, and driverless trucks and electric this and electric that. We can fix this problem easily. Quit paying people not to go to work is number one thing. Get them back in there. Start paying the dispatchers whatever you got to pay them to get them back into work. Get this stuff done. Get these people back to work. Forklift operators, dispatchers, logistics planners, recruiters, all of this stuff. Get them back to work. Quit paying them not to. Governor Newsom. But you know what? It's kind of funny because now that this created such a problem and everything, Texas ports down in Houston are going to start expanding and get more ships in. Florida is now going to start letting more ships in. And here's the funny part. These states aren't going to shut down and going to shut their states down. They're going to keep it moving. I tried to warn people about what was going to happen a year ago whenever I said, they start shutting this down, we're going to have problems. You're not going to be able to get freight. Everyone laughed at, oh, you're one of those guys. You're one. I was right, wasn't I? Go back and look at some of my posts and my videos and stuff. But anyway, that's where we're at now. So the supply chain can be fixed, but it's not about getting more truck drivers out there. And if you do need more truck drivers out there, ease up on the EPA regulations so the drivers in the surrounding states can come in there and help clear that out. But they're not going to, because they know that's not the real problem. I'll show you the videos here. I'm going to post them of truck drivers that are actually at those ports. There's one truck driver at a port, at a truck stop at Love's out there in California, showing 100 trucks lined up with chassis, because you'll hear people talk about that on the news. Well, the problem is that we don't have the drivers. The problem is we don't have a bunch of empty chassis. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of chassis sitting out there behind trucks waiting to get loaded. So that's another lie, another narrative. They're just trying to push. They're selling you on a sucker bet. They're betting you won't research. They're betting no one tells on them. They forget in today's world of the internet, we got drivers everywhere with cameras telling on them. So guys, there's a way. The supply chain is not as broken as you think it is. They're making it seem as broken as they want you to think it is, so that you will try to force them to pass up this spending bill that we don't need. We need a spending bill. We need infrastructure, but not what they're trying to push. Talk to y'all later.
4 rows. We got chassis. They don't give a shit. We've been here for 4 hours.
See all those trailers right there? Well, see those big green things behind all those trucks? I am in Tacoma, Washington. I have watched those cranes all day and not a single one of them has moved. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 major cranes at this massive port. Not a single one of them has moved today. All these trucks right here, right there, all these trucks out here, all of them are waiting for a load. They are sitting here doing nothing because the ports aren't working. So don't think that it's because of a driver shortage. It's not. These guys need work. The freight's sitting right there. Cranes aren't operating.
Now, there are some